It's exciting. You know, Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, closer range, outside, and he can fight going both ways. So,
Terence Crawford is on a relentless quest, and the boxing community is watching with intense anticipation. His upcoming clash with Canelo Alvarez in September 2025 has become one of the most eagerly awaited bouts in recent history. Although many see Crawford as the smaller man stepping up in weight, numerous seasoned boxing analysts are convinced he possesses the skills necessary to emerge victorious.
That Crawford could beat him, because Crawford is a big 147 fighter and is strong as well, which a lot of people don't give him the credit for.
Crawford kicked off his career in weight divisions significantly below Canelo's natural super middleweight category. However, true students of the sport, especially those who've competed at boxing's highest level, argue that Crawford's refined technique could be the defining factor. Among those backing this viewpoint is Errol Spence, someone who has personally experienced just how lethal Crawford can be inside.
You know, I'll be going for Bud. You know, if he fight Canelo.
You got Crawford over Bud? I mean, you got Crawford over Canelo? Sorry.
I'll be going for him. I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't.
Back in July 2023, Spence went toe-to-toe with Crawford in a historic bout to crown the undisputed welterweight champion. This marked the first time in the four-belt era that the division saw a unified title holder. The hype leading into the fight was massive, with fans expecting a close, tactical war. But once the opening bell rang, Crawford immediately took command. His precise strikes, flawless timing, and unrelenting pressure quickly overwhelmed Spence. Crawford didn't merely win, he put on a masterclass. By round 9, he stopped Spence and unified all four welterweight titles, cementing one of the most dominant performances ever seen in the sport.
I could call my friend, you know, he's been in my house, so it's hard for me to go against my own friend. I just hope both of them come out healthy, make a lot of money, and give the fans a great.
Having faced Crawford head-on, Spence understands exactly what kind of threat awaits Canelo Alvarez. When questioned about the impending showdown, Spence didn't hesitate to voice his support. "I'll be rooting for Bud if he fights Canelo," he said during a segment with Fight Hub TV. "I don't know if he's going to win or lose, but I'll definitely be pulling for Crawford. If anyone can get it done, he can." Spence also touched on Crawford's relentless pursuit of legacy, pointing out that if Canelo could move up in weight to challenge light heavyweights like Sergey Kovalev and Dmitry Bivol, then Crawford should be afforded the same ambition. "He's chasing greatness, so why not?" Spence said. Canelo went up to 175 and fought.
He does beat Canelo. Terence does beat Canelo. Terence does prove that he's a better fighter than Canelo. Now, whose era it was, it's kind of hard to do that for Bud, because obviously Canelo was on top of the sport for much longer. He was able to get any fight that he wanted.
It's Crawford's unmatched drive and ambition that lead many insiders to believe he's got a real shot at winning. Though physical size and strength certainly matter in boxing, it's often skill, strategy, and mental sharpness that tip the scales. Crawford's knack for adapting mid-fight and outmaneuvering his rivals is what makes him such a dangerous competitor. That said, Canelo is no pushover. He stands as one of the most seasoned and decorated fighters of his era, having notched wins against giants like Gennady Golovkin and Sergey Kovalev. Famous for his brutal body work and lethal counterpunching, Canelo has all the weapons needed to dismantle opponents. If Crawford isn't razor-sharp, Canelo could chop him down with body blows and close the show with a knockout.
I don't think it's a fight Canelo really wants, if I'm honest, because I think he feels like he won't get a lot of credit beating a light middleweight. And Crawford's going to move a lot in that fight, which is not ideal for Canelo.
The excitement around the fight escalated even further once Canelo inked a four-fight agreement running from May 2025 through October 2026. Among those bouts is the highly anticipated showdown against Crawford in Las Vegas. But first, Canelo is set to square off against IBF titleholder William Skull on May 3, 2025, in Riyadh. That bout will be for the undisputed super middleweight crown, with both champions putting their belts on the line. While Skull isn't a household name like Canelo, he's far from a soft touch. The Cuban-German fighter boasts a flawless 23-0 record and has held the IBF belt since the previous year. Since turning professional in 2016, he made waves with a knockout victory over Gaston Dario Abalos and has defended his title multiple times, establishing himself as a rugged and complete boxer. Canelo must be fully prepared to conquer Skull if he wants to stay on course for the Crawford super fight.
Excuse my language, the size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this.
Meanwhile, Crawford is monitoring every move closely. He recently delivered a pointed message to Canelo: "Good luck in your next fight, Canelo. I'm looking forward to becoming a 3-time undisputed champion." Crawford's mission is crystal clear: he intends to etch his name in history as the first male boxer to hold undisputed titles in 3 separate divisions. Though the goal seems nearly unattainable, Crawford has made a habit of defying expectations. One of the most talked about aspects of this matchup is the size disparity. Canelo, a natural super middleweight who has even competed at light heavyweight, presents a stark contrast to Crawford, who only recently moved up to the welterweight ranks. That difference in weight and physicality could be significant, which is why many fans see Canelo as the favorite. Still, those who've witnessed Crawford's brilliance up
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. Terence is freakishly strong.
Crawford's adaptability might be his greatest asset. He's celebrated for seamlessly switching stances and changing his tactics mid-fight. In his showdown with Errol Spence, he opened in a southpaw stance, expertly managing range while landing clean, accurate punches. His ring IQ is off the charts. He often anticipates his opponent's moves before they're executed, always staying one step ahead. This tactical genius could be the edge he needs to topple Canelo. On the flip side, Canelo is a master of counterpunching, known for his body assaults that gradually wear opponents down. He thrives in long fights, dismantling adversaries before unleashing a final, decisive blow. If Crawford fails to stay elusive and calculated, Canelo may exploit the opening to finish him.
Him and Crawford accept to fight in Saudi Arabia, the big fight. But we as a Riyadh season know how is big this fight.
Mike Tyson, renowned for his unfiltered opinions and encyclopedic boxing knowledge, hasn't shied away from criticizing Crawford versus Canelo. On his podcast It Is What It Is, Tyson made his thoughts plain. He doesn't like the fight due to the size mismatch. "I don't like that fight, too much weight," Tyson said, expressing skepticism about Crawford's ability to handle Canelo's natural size. Tyson pointed to Crawford's previous encounter with Israil Madrimov, where the smaller fighter appeared to struggle with Madrimov's awkward style and physicality. Although Crawford emerged victorious, Tyson believes those difficulties would only intensify against a more powerful and seasoned opponent like Canelo. To Tyson, size isn't just about punching power, it's about whether a smaller boxer can withstand the constant physical demands imposed by a naturally bigger fighter across 12 punishing rounds.
Max, if he accepts, I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now,
still, Tyson didn't entirely rule Crawford out. His core argument was that if Crawford could overcome the size gap, he would pose a genuine threat to Canelo. Tyson recognized Crawford's immense skill, stating that Canelo might be walking into the ring with a monster. In simpler terms, if size doesn't turn out to be the defining factor, Tyson believes Crawford's raw talent and aggression could overwhelm Canelo. Tyson isn't unfamiliar with fighters beating the odds despite size disadvantages. Throughout his career, he toppled taller and heavier opponents with a lethal mix of speed, power, and precision. So when Tyson warns about the size issue, it comes from real experience. At the same time, he's witnessed instances where technical skill eclipsed physical limitations. That's why he left the possibility open.
I think a lot of Canelo fans, for some reason, they know that there's no excuse. If he loses to Bud, this is a huge mark on his resume. If he beats Bud, he does beat a very accomplished fighter in this era. But there's no ready-made excuses in this fight.
Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult has also been vocal about the upcoming clash. Initially, he expressed doubts about the matchup, largely due to Crawford's defensive approach or the lack of it compared to Floyd Mayweather, who famously beat Canelo in 2013. According to Showbiz, Crawford fights more aggressively and takes more risks, which leaves him more exposed to incoming shots. Mayweather, by contrast, neutralized Canelo's offense with elusive defense and surgical counterpunching. For showbiz, this major stylistic difference could prove costly for Crawford, particularly if Canelo lands too many clean.
Let me tell you what I think should be gone. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jamel Charlo already proved that.
However, Showbiz has recently adjusted his perspective after closely reviewing Canelo's performances under pressure. He pointed out that Canelo struggles when forced to fight in retreat. 2 fights stood out in his analysis: his loss to Floyd Mayweather and his more recent defeat to Dimitri Bivol. In both bouts, Mayweather and Bivol used strategic footwork and pressure to keep Canelo moving backward, limiting his power and disrupting his rhythm. Showbiz now believes Crawford could adopt a similar strategy to outpoint Canelo.
Crawford, his name keeps coming up, and I know he's a lot smaller than you. Is that a fight that you would ever consider under any circumstance?
You know, I always say if the fight make sense.
A specific tactic Showbiz emphasized is Crawford's effective use of the body jab. In prior fights, Crawford consistently landed sharp jabs to the midsection, which slowed opponents down and forced them to lower their guard. If he targets Canelo's body early, it could sap his energy and make him vulnerable to heavier shots later. Showbiz also noted that Crawford's southpaw stance could present complications for Canelo. While Canelo has faced southpaws before, none possessed Crawford's combination of speed, power, and ring intelligence. Additionally, Crawford's in-fight stance switching serves as another weapon, one that could disrupt Canelo's rhythm and keep him second-guessing throughout the match.
Canelo versus Crawford, the biggest fight in the game.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're looking at Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, this is the next thing beyond that.
Another crucial factor Showbiz highlighted is Canelo's history of fading in the later rounds. In several recent outings, his stamina has dipped significantly after the 6th or 7th round, giving opponents a chance to shift momentum. On the other hand, Crawford is known for picking up steam as the fight progresses. Showbiz believes that if Crawford can weather the storm early and avoid serious punishment, he could take over in the championship rounds, possibly winning on points or even scoring a late stoppage. Both Tyson and Showbiz agree, this is a risky venture. The weight gap is substantial, and Canelo's punching power is a legitimate threat. But if Crawford can use his ring IQ, athleticism, and adaptability to neutralize those advantages, he has a real shot at pulling off one of the sport's most memorable upsets. Tyson holds deep respect for Crawford's courage and talent. He knows the danger is real, but so is Crawford's uniqueness. If anyone can pull this off, it's him. As for Showbiz, he believes the key lies in the strategy.
I do.
I think he wants to make history.
It's a big fight. Well, to make history is worth doing it.
Yeah, I think he wants to.
Legendary top-ranked promoter Bob Arum is known for his fearless takes on boxing's biggest showdowns. As the momentum builds for the Terence Crawford vs. Canelo Alvarez fight, Arum has publicly backed Crawford, asserting that the former undisputed welterweight king has the tools to dethrone the unified super middleweight champion. With both fighters reportedly nearing an agreement to meet this September in Las Vegas, excitement is hitting a fever pitch. Arum's history of promoting Crawford gives him unique insight into his capabilities, and he was quick to explain why he thinks Crawford can pull off what many would call an upset.
It's a Sugar Leonard Hagler type thing. I think he can go up and shock the world, but I guess we'll see, you know.
Well, maybe, you know, I think what Crawford is looking for is Manny Pacquiao De La Hoya fight.
A key point Arum stressed was Crawford's rare and unpredictable style. Because Crawford is such a unique talent, Arum said to Fight Hype, he's a brilliant boxer-puncher, and he's completely ambidextrous. Crawford's effortless ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw stances mid-fight is one of the traits that make him special. This unpredictability tends to throw opponents off balance and disrupt their rhythm, allowing Crawford to dictate the pace. Arum emphasized that this exact trait was instrumental in Crawford's overwhelming win over Errol Spence Jr. in 2023, proving just how dangerous he is even against elite opposition.
I think Canelo wipes the floor with him. I love Crawford. I told you
when Crawford and Spence, that Crawford would beat the hell out of him.
What was originally expected to be a razor-close contest became a one-sided demolition, as Crawford dismantled Spence in shocking fashion. Spence prepared for a right-handed opponent, and all he saw was a southpaw, Arum said, underlining how Crawford's stance switching caused problems from the opening bell. By constantly shifting angles and keeping Spence guessing, Crawford controlled the entire fight and finished it emphatically. Arum believes the same skill set could present Canelo with similar problems, potentially tipping the balance in Crawford's favor.
What do you think about Terence Crawford calling out Canelo?
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight.
Arum extended his comparison further by likening the proposed Crawford vs. Canelo bout to the legendary 2008 showdown between Manny Pacquiao and Oscar de la Hoya. Back then, Pacquiao left two weight divisions to face a bigger, more seasoned de la Hoya. Most predicted Pacquiao would be overwhelmed by the size difference, but he used his speed, footwork, and awkward angles to completely dismantle the larger man, earning a stoppage win. Arum, who promoted Pacquiao at the time, sees a parallel in Crawford. He believes Crawford's footwork, adaptability, and ability to fight from multiple angles could cause Canelo the same frustration de la Hoya once experienced.
I don't want to say it's impossible for my boy Crawford, but it's one of those things where if he really wants to win against Canelo, he's going to need to do everything, you know. You're going to need to run uphill.
This isn't the first time Arum has voiced belief in Crawford's ability to conquer the very best. In a past interview with Newsroom, Arum even suggested that a prime Crawford could have been the one to hand Floyd Mayweather his first professional loss. Crawford beats Mayweather because fighting a guy like him is a different experience, Arum explained. What separates Crawford from most fighters is that he's completely ambidextrous. Whether he's fighting orthodox or southpaw, he's equally dangerous. Mayweather, known for his defensive genius and ability to shut down elite competition, would have found Crawford's style uniquely difficult to solve. For Arum, Crawford's stance switching isn't a gimmick, it's a weapon that controls pace, direction, and the flow of battle.
Happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, you know, his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody. And
by frequently switching stances, Crawford forces his opponents to adapt constantly, often triggering mistakes that he immediately capitalizes on. Arum's faith in Crawford comes from witnessing him refine this approach over years, and he's convinced it could be the difference maker against Canelo. Rising star Shakur Stevenson, a close friend and protege of Crawford, also weighed in on the matchup. In a discussion with Boxing News, Stevenson affirmed that Crawford is the best equipped fighter to challenge Canelo. If anyone can, it's Crawford, Stevenson said. Still, he didn't underestimate the task ahead. It's going to be very tough. Canelo's got the intelligence, the size, and the power. It's a tough fight, but if anyone can pull it off, it's Terence Crawford.
I think it's very difficult. Canelo got the IQ, he got the size, he got the power, maybe. It's a very difficult fight, but I think if anybody could get it done, it's Terence Crawford.
Stevenson's comments strike a thoughtful balance. He firmly believes in Crawford's capabilities, but also acknowledges the danger posed by Canelo. Canelo has built a legacy as one of the most complete fighters in the sport, blending high-level ring intelligence, power, and surgical accuracy. Over his career, he's beaten a wide variety of styles, from slick movers to rugged brawlers. Despite high-profile defeats to Mayweather and Bivol, Canelo has repeatedly demonstrated resilience and adaptability. Facing Crawford would be a unique challenge for Canelo, but he's no stranger to southpaws or unorthodox tactics.
Others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds.
Still, Crawford's instantaneous stance shifts could present an entirely new level of unpredictability, one even Canelo has never encountered. The tactical chess match between these two elite fighters would be mesmerizing to witness. What makes this matchup even more compelling is how quickly things changed. Just a year ago, the idea of Crawford moving up in weight to face Canelo seemed far-fetched. But reports suggest that Saudi boxing power broker Turki Al-Sheikh has played a pivotal role in pushing the fight closer to reality. His influence has turned what was once a fantasy bout into a very real possibility.
Versus Canelo, based on last fight, is a 50-50. So Canelo fights an undisputed champ, up-and-coming former champion, and an up-and-coming undefeated contender. And somehow those three last opponents are somehow compared to Bud's Madrimov.
I really hate on it, but I'm excited for that. I know Canelo is so big, so strong, and I think he'll be just too big. I mean, weight classes matter.
If you enjoyed the fight, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more knockout content only on Knuckle Forge.